In July, I took an intentional break from painting. We had family visiting. My son was going through a transition from preschool to public school. There were swim lessons and, all the life things. Great, joy filled, first priority type of life things. Things that make putting painting on hold totally worth it. But it wasn't easy to come back from this break. I spent the last part of July trying to get back into it, and by the time August came around, I had broken through most of the resistance. And it was just in time, too, because our second annual Artful August was beginning and I wanted to participate. In this video, I'll share with you what I created in the first 4 days of August after coming back from a month-long break. I'll show you what I made and what I learned from these seemingly random doodles. And of course, I'll explain what Artful August is. Okay, so let's dive into it. First of all, there won't be too much video in this video because one thing that is key for me when it comes to returning from a creative break is not filming everything I do. There's something about setting up a camera, having it filming, and next to me that sort of changes the mood. And most of the time it's fine, but I think that there are times when my creativity needs true privacy and freedom, even if I tell myself the footage will never be seen. So, Artful August is a month-long challenge that I came up with for my painting community last year. We have a weekly color-inspired prompt, and we make entries using whatever medium we like during the weekdays only, with the weekends off. This year, we're using jewel tones as our inspiration. Week 1 was ruby red. I'll share a screenshot of all of our prompts with you at the end of the video in case you ever want to use them, whether it's August or not. So, I started Artful August with mark making. I noticed I tend to default to making random marks when I'm dusting myself off from a creative break or block. There are times when the marks feel awkward and look awkward, and then there are other times where it seems to flow and work well. In this entry, I played with water-soluble wax pastels. I just got these recently, and I'm still experimenting and playing around with them, so I'll link the swatching video here for you in case you're curious about what these are. I believe there's something to be learned from every creative session, whether it's discovering something we enjoy or something that we don't. We also get the chance to play. And on day 1 here, I learned that I could make splatters really easily with these wax pastels. I also noticed that they were really fun to use in a wet on wet type of technique, where the paper is wet and the pastel is wet, and then you can just draw. You can see here there's a bit of a controlled yet fluid look when you use this approach with these wax pastels, and I think that's a super fun thing that holds a lot of possibilities. So day 2, I just followed my inspiration. My son has just discovered ring pops. It's a candy that you wear like a ring and it actually looks like a jewel. And he had asked me the day before to go and get one. So it was our adventure for the afternoon to find one of these at a store. And it was the perfect subject matter for ruby red. Without thinking about composition or how it would look with the previous entry, I just pulled up an image from the internet and I began sketching. I learned from day 2 that this split page layout for my entries wasn't going to look too bad. I was a little bit worried about it, and composition in a sketchbook is always something I think about, but I don't proactively practice. I'm not even sure how you would actually practice composition in a sketchbook. I just think that the more I work in sketchbooks, then the more I'll just learn through trial and error, kind of like I did here. And here on day 3, the first thing that popped into my mind was red lipstick. I had painted lips a few years ago in watercolor and I felt inspired to try it again, except this time I had water-soluble wax pastels to play with too. So you can see how I took what I learned from day 1, which was the splatters, and played with them again on day 3. You can't see it here, but behind the dark color in the mouth, there is also an experiment. Instead of picking black or gray, I don't use black in painting, but sometimes I use a lot of gray. But instead of using gray, I mixed my own dark purple by using the red that I was painting with and mixing it with Viridian. I really love how this created a dark purple that was in harmony with the red lips because it was already using a color that I was using. The red I was using was Pyrrole Crimson. And here on day 4, I was inspired by my painting community, actually. During the month of August, I've committed to painting that day's entry on a Zoom call. So every Friday, I show up on Zoom in our studio, and I paint my entry for the day. And this particular day, we were chatting about things, and the color Neutral Tint by Daniel Smith came up. I had bought a tube of it months ago based on the recommendation from a fellow member of our community, and I never took it out to test it. On the call, I decided I would just take it out for the first time and test it out, mix it with some of the reds that I was using because I was really trying to get a deep ruby red the first 3 days, and I never really got to it. And so I thought neutral tint might be able to get me there. And so I took out neutral tint, and when mixed with other colors, it creates such a beautiful muted version of it, like a deeper, darker, less vibrant version. And it also is a beautiful color by itself, and I honestly would never have discovered or thought to try out neutral tint without the suggestion of this member who told me neutral tint, actually multiple members had told me neutral tint was a beautiful color. And there are honestly so many things that I learned by way of community that I never would have come across otherwise, and this is just one example of that. So far, after these 4 days, August has felt pretty artful. If you like this video, let me know if I should share the rest of my Artful August entries here. I could probably do it week by week and share them as I go through each color. And if you'd like a little bit of inspiration, here are the Artful August prompts for the rest of the month. You can, of course, do these at any time, but if you want to hang out and be artful with us this month inside the community, you can always join us at paintwithmecommunity.com, and I'll also leave a link in the description box below. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.